Lisa, could you explain how the body is moving? Who's moving? How does it move on command? Who's listening? It's so confusing when I start paying close attention to it. I think it's one of the main reasons of body identification, the sense that we can move our bodies as opposed to rest of what's happening, which is not controlled by me. Yeah, so it feels like inside the body it comes with this command. You say, okay, I put my attention inside, so I put it in my heart area, I put it in my throat area, I put it in my head, I put it in the top of my head, I put it in my hands, I put it on what Lisa's saying, I lift my hand. But actually, how do you lift your hand? So there's this lifting happening, there's this movement happening, but how are you doing that? And actually it's total mystery. You don't know how you're doing that, but there's a voice inside you that's telling you you're doing it. You're moving your hand now. And then just before you move it, you go, you can pick up your hand, and then the movement happens. So there's a voice that's describing to you what's happening. It's describing the process of choice. So you can make a choice between moving your hand or not moving your hand. I'm going to not move my hand. So there's a voice that's describing choice to you, and the appearance and the illusion of choice, and there's a voice that's telling you what you've done or what you're going to do. But actually in the very moment of it, even though it feels like you're moving and there's a voice that's telling you you're moving, how are you doing that? How does that happen? Who's doing it? And that's the wrong assumption. If you really look at your experience, there's nobody moving. There's nobody that picks the choice to move the hand. And also it's happening too quickly. So in speaking now, like I couldn't possibly choose to speak. It's just coming out. It's just coming. I'm not sitting in here thinking, what should I say to her? How should I answer her? It just comes. And even if I did, that just comes. But where does it come from? Does it come from a centralized person that's like, she's going to say this now and that now? The actual experience is it comes from nowhere. It comes from no place, which by default means it's every place. By default, it means it's everywhere. So it comes from this mysterious place that cannot be found, and yet it's happening. That's your direct experience. This is being moved. This body is being moved, but you don't know how. Your mind just tells you that you're moving it. I'm moving it. But so often it's moving and you're not even telling yourself to do it. It just feels like you. It feels like you. And then you say the rest of the world doesn't move because I don't command it. But in a way that's true. Oh, that hurt. In a way that's true. It doesn't move because you don't command it. But actually you don't know what you're doing. You don't know the way it's happening. Like in your dream at night, in your dream at night, you dream as if you're that character looking at the dream. So you're walking around a dream at night and you're looking at the world and you're like, oh, I'm going to go and buy a chocolate bar. Even though you're not thinking about that in your bed, you're not thinking I'm a person in my bed dreaming this dream unless you're lucid dreaming. But in the dream, you're thinking, oh, I've got to run away from this person, or I'm going to go and do this, or I'm going to go and do that. So it feels like in your dream, that person is controlling this inside world and is controlling where you go and what you do. And it feels like there is a separate world outside of you that's actually acting independently. But actually, it's all being created by the one that's in bed, the one that's laying asleep in bed, but it's being created by that one that's laying asleep in bed unconsciously. It's just being spontaneously created by your imagination. And you're dreaming that you're somebody inside the dream that's looking at the dream, and you're independent and you've got free will, and that you can choose to do this or that, and that the world is happening separate from you and isn't your choice. And that's how it's happening here. So actually who you are is actually choosing to move the rest of the world in the way it does. It's just that you're not conscious of it on the human level, and you believe that you're the human. It's actually creating everything. But just like the dream at night, it's spontaneously creating it. So it doesn't feel like you're consciously creating it. It just feels like it's a happening. It's a happening. But it is your dream. All of it. You're so used to thinking you're victim to it, that you're in relationship to this scary dream, but it's just feelings. It's just feelings. And then as your feelings change, as they loosen up and you as the human begin to feel different things, then your external world begins to look different. Your dream begins to change because they're related. So like you don't at night dream that you're really scared of something and you're sitting in a toffee shop. It could be that you're dreaming that you're afraid of toffees, but normally you dream there's a monster around to be scared of. And it's the same in this dream. As your dream becomes more peaceful, then the external becomes more peaceful. So as that human becomes more peaceful, then the external becomes more peaceful, because you're not going to be making really complex, difficult decisions anymore. You're going to be more than likely opting for the simple life, the more simple things. Mind-blowing. Yeah, it's pretty cool.